Hi Scrappy friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to our 6th day of our 12 cropping days of Christmas. And I'm going to jump right into it today because as you already know, and if you've watched any of the first 5, you know that I'm using the Creative Memories 110 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketchbook. And each day I'm adding one more photo to my layout to correspond with the day. So today is day 6. So I'm adding 6 photos to my layout. So I have my photos ready, my idea is ready, and let's go ahead and begin. So for today, I'm working on page 35 of the sketchbook, and it's this sketch right here, and it makes this block style layout. Now we have already done a block style, but I'm going to change it up a little bit today. But let me go ahead and pop this up on the screen and we'll take a closer look at it. So like I said, this is a block style foundation. So you'll see lots of blocks, and when you're looking at the sketch, it looks like there's 4 blocks, the background piece, and then 3 additional. The very top one is actually just a cutout, and you're seeing the paper behind. It just looks like 3 different layers based on the shading of the sketch, and it most certainly can be 3 different layers. But I'm going to follow along like the sketch did today and the instructions, which I have posted in the description of this video, and just to kind of keep it similar to what they have here. Pretty basic, pretty easy, block upon a block upon a block, and then they got 3 photos. Like I said, I'm going to extend mine into a double page layout so I can get 6 photos on. And then they have a border down at the bottom of the block, a nice cute border and an awesome embellishment cluster. And then they have 2 additional areas where they did some embellishment clusters as well. Easy one for us today. So come on back to my desk and I'll show you what I'm going to use. Let's talk about the layout, which I'm going to put right up there in the corner because I'm going to make a 2-page layout. So let's say that these red pieces are going to be my background pieces, and then on this they have a block on top of a block. So they have a 10-inch block right here in the middle. One way that you can make this into a double page layout is simply by mirroring the exact thing on the other side. But when I have this situation, I don't want to have just an exact mirror image. I like to do something like this where I push these 2 blocks together into the center, and then over the 2-page spread it looks like it's all just cohesive and spreading throughout both layouts. And so this main area right here would be where I put my photos. So in that case I do make my block a little bit longer. You'll see on this side I use instead of a 10 by 10 inch square, I used a 10.5 by 11-inch square. And the reason I did that is because so the border would be the same all the way around. Let me bring this one back in one more time, because if I don't do that, then I'm going to have a wide border over here and a thinner one on the top, which is totally fine too if that's the look you're going for. But for me, what I want to do today is to make that block a little bit bigger and bump them to the center, but still have about equal distance around the whole background piece. Now another thing I'm going to do is, because I'm doubling this up, if I were to take 2 pieces of red and then this 2 piece and then the other block on top of this, that would be 6 pieces of paper for this 2-page layout. And I could go through and gut the inside of each one so that I could then have some more paper to move forward into another layout. But I'm going, instead of gutting today, I'm going to do some miter cuts across the top here and on the top layer as well, which we'll talk about when we get to it. But so I'm going to miter cut today instead of gutting, just for that reason, so I can cut down on the amount of paper that I'm going to use. Okay, so we're going to put these sample blocks away. I'll go ahead and keep the red here because I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to save this whole piece for a future layout. Okay, so I'm going to give myself plenty of room to, when I make my frame, I could have a little bit of extra for mounting the next piece on. So I'm going to go ahead and do these at 1.5 inches, and I only need 3 of them because I'm going to do the top, the bottom, and the sides. I don't need one down the middle because that's where I'm going to push the top blocks in. So I'm going to need a total of 6 of these. So let me know in the comments, are you team gut or are you team miter? Or are you like me? It really depends on the layout that you're working on, the amount of time you want to save, because sometimes we don't want to do any of it and we're just putting the paper right on top and not taking our time to cut it out, right? So that's okay too. It all depends on what our end result is. So yeah, let me know. Team gut, team miter, or just keeping it simple and quick. We need the top and the bottom for each side, and this will be the side one, and this will be the piece that I'm actually gonna cut and miter. Okay, so I'll put the first piece in. It goes, the pattern that you want facing goes up against the 45-degree angle all the way up to the cut line. Put the tip of the corner right there on the cut line, and there we go. And now you flip it over, put the reverse side up, and do the same thing and cut. And then you should have a perfect mitered corner, and we'll just mount it on top of this one, and we're ready to go. Let me do the other side. And there we go. We're ready for the next layer. So this will be the first block, and we're ready to build the second block on top. So I am using my gray mats today because it helps me line everything up. Okay, and now for our next block that's here, the one that we're gonna do the 10.5 by 11, I'm gonna pull in this beautiful wood grain paper. This was not from one of my Christmas collections that I showed in the first video. This actually came from the Autumn Harvest collection. I just absolutely love wood grain. I bring it in all the time on my Christmas layouts because I just think it's so beautiful. And I just want to decide which direction I want my wood planks to be running. So I can either go that way or this way. And then let's see here. Okay, we'll go like this. And then this is the one that I want it to be 10.5 from top to bottom, and an 11.5 that direction. Trim this down to 11. And then 10.5. And it's gonna look like this. And now let's do the other side. This block we are not going to gut or miter because the next piece actually is a box on top with a hollowed out center, and for that I'm going to also do mitering. So I'm going to bring in this polka dot paper, and this is going to be basically my top block, but I'm going to cut this into strips as well and save myself some paper. And this time I need 3 half-inch strips. So I'm going to take all 4 of the strips, the tops and the bottoms, stack them together, and this one I need to be at 10.5 inches. And then these last two, I'll stack them together, and I just need these to be 10 inches long. Now on this one, we do want some of that pretty wood grain to show through. So I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom on each side. And I'll bring back my trimmer because these are the ones we're going to miter. And for that, I'm going to turn them so that the pattern I want showing is facing inside each other. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did with the red. I'm going to put it along the 45-degree angle with that corner right on the cutting line and cut them. Then I will flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. And there we go. Here's one. Let's put that back in place. And then one over here. There we go. And that's how I made my block on my block and saved myself a ton of paper just by using the miter instead of gutting. Let me grab my photos and we'll do some photo placement. So my photos for today are actually from 1996, and they are a little bit smaller. These are how they were printed, but back then they printed on a lot smaller photo size. So I have 3 that I want to try and keep on this side of the layout and keep them full size as possible. And then I have these other 3 that have already been cropped down. Now I didn't do this now. These were actually in a one of those magnetic pull type albums, and I took them out a while ago, but these were the shapes I've already had them cut into. So I'm gonna work with what I have. I don't have any other photos. This is us getting our tree and decorating our tree that year. So I'm very limited on the photos that I have, but I do want to document this story. So I'm gonna put these 3 over here, and I'm gonna make it work. I'm going to probably scoot everything up just a tad, because if you remember in our sketch, they have a border running down here. So I would like to do that same thing. And for that, I'm gonna bring in a piece of dark green cardstock, scoot that up, because I'm also going to bring in my border making system and the new Treeline border making cartridge. And I am going to punch out 2 for the bottom of each of these blocks. I'm going to run my border completely across both sides. So I'll go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get these borders punched out. Okay, I'm ready to trim off, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of extra room down here underneath the trees. So I'm going to cut this at 1.5 inches. So I'll put those top points of the biggest trees on the 1.5 inch. There. Okay, so let's talk about matting of the photos, because I do feel like I want to mat this one and this one. And for that, I'm just going to bring in some more dark green. Yep, that looks really cute that I went ahead and just gave those 2 a little bit of a border. And everything else I think I'm going to leave not matted, just because I want to have a little bit more focus on these 2. Now, before we get on to embellishing, I would like to bring in my border stickers, because in their border, they had a border punch out, and then they ran a border sticker through the, well, they did it through the center, but I don't want to cover up my trees. So I'm going to bring in this border. This is just to add a little bit of color to my layout and a little bit of texture. This is just very cute. It's little zigzags, and it has a little scalloped edge. I'm just going to eyeball that right over here, and I'll trim that off. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. It has a little fishtail at one end, and I want that to be at the opposite end. Again, we're just going to eyeball it. To get ready for embellishing, I'm going to look through my kit to see what embellishments I want to add. But while I'm doing that, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you to please click that like button. This really has been helping me to spread my content through YouTube and find other scrappy friends. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to grab my embellishments. Okay, first thing I like to always start off with is my title and my journaling. I won't have a lot to journal on this one, so I'm not going to leave a journaling spot specifically for that, but I am going to bring in a title. I think for my title, I'm going to bring in this nice, big, beautiful ornament. It's green and red and has a little bit of white. For this, I think I'm just going to put it up here somewhere and tuck it in somewhere like that. Let's see. And then maybe overlap it with this photo. There, like that looks cute. Then in my stash, I wanted to show what I did with my embellishments since we've talked the very first video. I had all those different embellishments, and I just kind of was showing all of them, and then I said I'm going to dump them all into one tray, and I did, and that just hasn't been working out for me. So I went back after like video number 4, I think it was, and I reorganized my embellishments, and I'm using both trays, and I've separated them out. So I have the beautiful ornament embellishments, the layered embellishments, the laser cut and layered embellishments from this year's collection. And here I put all my different titles, because when I'm looking for a title, it was really slowing me down trying to dig through a big pile of just a hodgepodge of things. So I separated them out. When I want the ornaments, I want the ornaments. And when I want a title, I could just look here in the center and grab a title. And then I put all the flowers and any kind of foliage in this category. So I know when I'm looking for that, that will be easy to find. So I have that there. Then this tray kind of stayed the same. I have the miscellaneous icons here. So Santa sleigh, snowflakes, snowmen, trees. I mean, the tree could actually be over there. Presents, anything like that would be here. And then this center one, this was the same. I just kind of separated them. So I have the tags here and then the large ornaments here. And this was the mat cards and some scrap paper, some gems, and some smaller scrap pieces of paper here. So I've been kind of going through these and just pulling these in when I have a need for them. And it's really been coming in handy to have them already, like little pieces that I could just tuck in here and there, and especially in my embellishment clusters. So I just wanted to point that out because I did have to kind of pause and reorganize everything, and I thought that was worth mentioning, that sometimes we just have to change it up, and it's been so much quicker now planning and prepping the video so that I could find things, now that I can find things easier. Okay, so back to my title. My title is going to go right here, and this is why I mentioned it, because I got this great title out of my embellishment trays very quickly, and it says Deck the Halls, and I think that's another reason why I don't need to say a lot of journaling on here. So it's a little piece of wood veneer, so it has a little bit of dimension already, and it's going to go right here on top of that ornament. Now I do need something I feel like to tuck in underneath, and that's where those little scraps of paper came through. So I pulled out a few different scraps to try and get used on this, possibly on this layout. Let's scooch over this way. And because I have the wood grain, I brought in some of the wood grain pieces, and I'm going to try and use this half piece. I just love wood grain of any kind. Is when I have a scrap, I did this, and I just did a little scrap on my die cut machine, knowing that I could very easily tuck in this cut piece, and you would never even know it's not a full doily. So it's going to go something like this. So I like it because it brings in some of the brown wood grain and gives me somewhere to house my title. I also have this big open area down here. So I was looking through my embellishments and I came up with this vintage Creative Memories Christmas tree. I loved it because it's not decorated yet, so I thought it would be perfect on this side of the page, because here's where we bought the tree, got it home, let it rest a little bit, and then we decorated it. Now these are some older stickers that I was playing around one day and just mounted it on some white cardstock and then did a little fast fussy cut around it. And I'm gonna put that right over here. So, yep, just like that. I like it. Again, I want to bring in something to kind of house that on. Let's see. We have a doily up there. That's the same doily, actually. Let's see. Well, we'll keep it there for now, but I'm not sure that's exactly what I want there. I'm going to scoot these over because I have like this big open area and I want to be able to utilize that. I had a piece, this little piece of green left over from my matting, and I think I'm going to trim this down just a tad. So it's about a 1 inch wide now. I'm going to make this into a little fishtail or banner cut. I'm going to put this right up here. I like it, and I still want to bring in some more of these little scraps that I have. Just have a little bit of dimension with that red, and it just kind of helps to add to that cluster up there at the top. Okay, so for this area, let's go ahead and bring in this tray, and let's see what kind of paper scraps we have. I like the circles. I kind of feel like the other areas have circles. So I have 2 of these. See, what I'd like to do is just kind of offset it a little bit. Yes, I like that much better. than this one. So that goes back in the tray. Then I have these vintage Create a Memory stickers. I think I'm going to bring in a little present and put it right down here. Maybe even this one. Little details. Nobody would probably even ever notice. Let's do one more. But the tree needs to have a couple presents maybe. Yep, 3 little presents. They're so tiny down there. I'm not going to make a big deal about them. I'm not going to pop them up onto foam tape or anything like that. Now, to decorate that banner, I thought I would bring in these gems. I have gold and silver, and I like the gold. So let's see. I think I will probably do something like this. Let's see. I'll straighten those out. But yeah, I like it. It just kind of adds a little something right over there. I have 3 more. Let's see. I'm going to bring a couple in over here, kind of bling up that area, and then maybe one over here somewhere off to the side of the Christmas tree. Yeah, I like that much better. I'm not going to use any of the silver ones, so we'll save that for another layout. And I think that's all I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to adhere everything down so things can stop moving around, and I'll come back and we'll decide if we need any finishing touches. Okay, hold on. Okay, everything's adhered down. Here is my block layout. It's my block upon block upon block that I've stretched into a 2-page layout. I like it. It's simple, but yet it houses all my photos nicely. You know, I feel like there's a lot of room still. I could have added maybe, if I had more photos, I could certainly add more. And I got a few embellishments in there. I like it. I think it's very simple. But I do want to add just a couple finishing touches. And for that, I brought in this bow. This is another vintage Creative Memories sticker that I put onto some cardstock and then fussy cut around it. I'm going to bring this right up here and kind of add it to that little banner. I kind of pushed all the gems down so that I would have room to house that cute little bow right there. And then I had this word happy. It's gold, and it happened to be laying here on my tray actually, and I thought, why not bring it in? I think I'll bring it in right down here off of the tree. Just a little bit of more bling down here since I have so much bling in the other clusters. And that's going to be it for my layout. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you this first embellishment cluster up close. And I think that bow just really added everything that I needed. And then here's the up close look at this embellishment cluster down here. I like how that circle just kind of protrudes out and has no purpose, but it just kind of helps to give definition to that cluster. And then my last cluster up here with the title and that half piece doily, and I think I could have turned it a little bit more slightly so you couldn't see it, but I'm okay with it. I think it came out cute. Kind of looks like the center of the ornament. I do truly hope that you're enjoying this series, and I will be back in a couple days with video number 7. And until then, everybody, take care, and I'll see you real soon. And I will add a couple more videos here for inspiration, as well as the entire playlist up there. Okay, well, thanks everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.